The long-awaited Crimson Desert is finally back in the spotlight, and this time, it's not just another cryptic trailer or vague update buried in a dev blog. Pearl Abyss has confirmed once and for all that Crimson Desert is officially targeting a fourth quarter 2025 release, and this time it really does seem like the game is finally closing in on the finish line. This news came straight from Pearl Abyss's Q1 2025 earnings call, and it's backed by some clear signs that development is in its final stages. According to the company, the team is currently focused on voiceover recording and polishing the game for launch. That's not early phase development anymore, those are finishing touches. And what's more, we're not just getting internal updates now. For the first time in years, Crimson Desert is about to get a full proper reintroduction to the world, and in June, likely during Summer Game Fest, Pearl Abyss will be showing off brand new gameplay footage alongside what many are expecting to be a playable demo. This could be limited to media and influencers at first, but there are strong signs that a public version might follow shortly after. This reveal is a big deal because for a long time Crimson Desert has been more of a mystery than a real tangible game. We've had gorgeous trailers, cinematic sizzle reels, and the occasional dev interview, but never a full breakdown of how the game actually plays moment to moment. That's all set to change. Pearl Abyss has promised a new in-depth look at gameplay, not just in combat but in exploration, world interaction, and narrative design. And if they deliver, if what they show in June actually looks playable, cohesive, and polished, it could completely change the public perception of this game overnight. Especially in a year as stacked as 2025, Crimson Desert now has a real chance to step into the spotlight as one of the biggest RPG releases of the year. So what exactly are we looking at with Crimson Desert? Well, to rewind a bit, this game started as a prequel to the studio's earlier MMO Black Desert Online. But during development, Pearl Abyss made a pretty big pivot. They decided to separate it entirely from the MMO structure and instead focus on creating a standalone single-player open-world RPG. One that shares some lore and aesthetic DNA with Black Desert, sure, but is ultimately its own beast. The result is what looks like a dark fantasy action RPG set in the war-torn land of Pywell. You play as Cliff MacDuff, a battle-hardened mercenary drawn into a power vacuum after the kingdom's unifying king falls into a coma. It's a setup that opens the door to faction struggles, personal politics, shifting alliances, and a world teetering on collapse. You're not the chosen one, you're just a guy trying to survive, make the right calls, and deal with your own ghosts while keeping your crew alive. And that's one of the reasons people are starting to look at Crimson Desert differently now. It's not just another fantasy RPG filled with prophecies and glowing swords. There's a groundedness to the world they're building, a rough, almost medieval tone with layered systems underneath. Let's talk about gameplay for a minute because this is where things start to get genuinely interesting. Unlike Black Desert Online, which was designed around multiplayer and economy systems, Crimson Desert is 100% single player. No shared world, no co-op, no online dependency. It's you, the world, and the choices you make. The combat leans heavily into physics-based action. It's combo driven with a mix of melee and ranged attacks, parries, dodges, and environmental interactions. One-on-one duels seem to be a big focus, as well as larger scale battles against powerful bosses, some of which we've already seen in early trailers, including a fight with a giant enemy crab and a duel against a character called the Stag Lord. Think Dragon's Dogma meets a more responsive Witcher 3. Pearl Abyss has also talked about an alchemy system that lets you imbue weapons with different effects, fire, poison, frost, and so on. This adds a tactical layer to combat, since certain enemies will be weak or resistant to different elements. And yes, you can fight on horseback. We've seen mounted combat in action already, and it looks like it'll be a fluid part of how you engage with larger areas and world events. Traversal is another area that might surprise people. This isn't just a flat ride-around kind of world. You'll be climbing cliffs, scaling ruins, and navigating multi-layered spaces that push verticality just as much as distance. The Black Space engine, Pearl Abyss's in-house tech, is doing a lot of heavy lifting here. Visuals are high-end with complex lighting, particle systems, and destructible environments, and we're expecting that next-gen only focus to really show in the upcoming demo. But it's not all combat and climbing. Crimson Desert is also doubling down on activities and systems that add life to the world. You'll be cooking, fishing, solving puzzles, and even managing resources and factions. Your decisions apparently shape how some NPCs interact with you and how your mercenary band evolves over time. Think less Skyrim-style sandbox and more narrative-shaped RPG where actions build context rather than just checkboxes. The narrative angle is also worth spotlighting. From what we know, the world of Pywell is fragmented with multiple cultures, languages, and belief systems. And while Cliff is the protagonist, you'll meet other mercenaries with their own backstories, goals, and personalities. Some will join you, others might betray you. It's not a full-on branching narrative system, but the studio is pushing the idea that the choices you make do affect outcomes, both personal and political. Now the million-dollar question, why should people care about this game now? First, because it's launching in a window where players are already hungry for deep single-player RPGs, a world that's not as grounded as Kingdom Come, but not as magical or stylized as Avowed. It's rougher, rawer, and seemingly focused on personal storytelling inside a massive world. That fills a space we don't get a lot of right now. Second, because it's not trying to do too much. There's no live service model, no daily login bonuses, no raids or season passes. Crimson Desert is trying to be a focused, standalone RPG with a clear beginning, middle, and end. And that kind of design is becoming rare in today's AAA space. And finally, because it's a chance for Pearl Abyss to prove they can do more than MMOs. They've built a reputation for stunning visuals and deep systems. Now the question is whether they can tie that into something emotionally engaging and mechanically satisfying on a solo player level. The next few months are going to be critical. The June reveal at Summer Game Fest is their shot to show that Crimson Desert isn't just vaporware or development hell. If they come out swinging with a solid demo, clear mechanics, and a locked-in release window for late 2025, this game could shift from curiosity to contender and fast. If you've been burned by ambitious RPGs that didn't deliver, or if you've been waiting for a game that blends narrative, world building, and combat without all the bloat, Crimson Desert is worth keeping on your radar, and we'll be keeping a close eye on what's revealed next month. Until then, the pieces are finally in place. The dev team's confident, the game is polished enough to be shown again, and the marketing machine is starting to roll. The continent of Pywell features a range of environments including snow-covered mountains, lush forests, and expansive deserts. Each biome presents unique challenges and aesthetics, contributing to the game's immersive open-world experience. The game incorporates a dynamic weather system and a day-night cycle, affecting gameplay elements such as visibility, enemy behavior, and environmental interactions. It looks awesome, and I hope we get to see much more next month. Like the video right now if you're excited and subscribe to stay tuned. We're closer than ever to seeing what Crimson Desert really is, and if they can stick the landing, it might just end up being one of the best surprises of the year.